Welcome to Not Your Average Counsellor, the space where we tackle the unfiltered, often messy realities of love, relationships, and human connection. I'm V Vinci, and I am not your run-of-the-mill counsellor. With over a decade of experience working with clients and my own lived experiences to draw from, I help people all their hidden parts, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Because only when we face our truth can we step into our most authentic selves. This series, Messy Truths, is where we dive headfirst into the things we're all thinking, but nobody's brave enough to say out loud. You know, those 2 a.m. thoughts that make you question everything about your relationship, your choices, your sanity. We're breaking down the tough questions people are often afraid to ask. The ones that make you squirm, laugh nervously, and then immediately text your friend saying, "Oh my God, did you hear that episode?" We'll explore the emotional, psychological, and social dynamics at play. Have you ever wondered if it's manipulative to use your partner's insecurities to win arguments? Or questioned whether you should stay with someone who refuses to work on their mental health? If you've ever found yourself thinking, is it selfish to not want children when my partner desperately does? Or should I fake orgasms to protect my partner's feelings? You're not alone, and you're definitely in the right place. No sugarcoating, no cliches, just honest conversations about the messy, complicated, sometimes hilarious reality of being human in relationships. This is where your inside thoughts finally get their moment in the spotlight. Let's get uncomfortable together. Hello and welcome back to Not Your Average Counsellor. I am V Vinci, and this is the podcast where we explore real, raw, and sometimes uncomfortable truths about relationships, human behaviour, and why we do the things we do. Today we are diving into a very modern relationship dilemma. Should you investigate your partner's dating history online before things get serious? Oh my God. Let's be honest. Most people have at least thought about doing it. Maybe you've met someone you really like, things are starting to feel meaningful, and then curiosity creeps in. You start wondering about their past relationships, who they dated, what those relationships looked like, how serious they were, and because we live in a digital world, that curiosity often leads straight to the search bar. Within minutes, you can uncover old photos, comments, tag posts, and sometimes even old dating profiles. The internet makes the past incredibly accessible. But here's the real question. Just because something is available online, does that mean you're entitled to go looking for it? There is a very fine line between curiosity and control, between wanting to understand someone better and accidentally creating mistrust before the relationship has even had a chance to grow. So today we're unpacking what's really going on beneath the urge to investigate your partner's past online. So dating today is very different from dating even 15 or 20 years ago. In the past, when someone entered your life, you mostly learned about their history through your conversations together. You asked questions, they shared stories, and over time you build an understanding of their past through dialogue and trust. Now, however, the internet holds an archive of people's lives. Old relationships often leave digital footprints, photos, comments, shared memories that are on platforms like Facebook or Insta, you know the crap. So when you start dating someone new, their past isn't just something they might tell you about. It's something you can often see, and that can create a powerful sense of temptation. It's the, I'm just curious, I'll have a quick look. But curiosity is rarely the only thing at play. Very often, people are actually looking for reassurance. They're looking for signs that the person they're falling for is trustworthy, is honest or emotionally available. And that leads to an important question. Are you searching for information or are you searching for certainty? Because those two things are very, very different. Information might tell you facts about someone's past, but certainty, that's the feeling that you want when you are safe in a relationship. That doesn't come from a search result. When someone begins digging into a partner's history or dating online, it's rarely about the curiosity. There's something deeper driving that behavior. It's sometimes fear. It's the fear of being lied to or the fear of discovering later that the person you trusted wasn't who you thought they were. Sometimes it's insecurity. You might want to see what their previous partners look like. You might compare yourself to them without even realizing that you're doing it. Or worse, you know full well that you're doing it. And sometimes it's about your past emotional wounds. If someone has been cheated on before, betrayal, or being blindsided by something they didn't see coming, their brain often becomes hyper alert for warning signs. So in therapy, we sometimes call this protective scanning. Your mind is trying to protect you from being hurt again. So it searches for clues, it searches for patterns, it searches for evidence that something might go wrong. The intention is self-protection, but the behavior quietly undermines the very trust that you are trying to build. And this leads to another powerful question worth asking yourself. How much of this search is about your partner, and how much is it about trying to calm your own fears? So one of the biggest problems with investigating someone online is that the internet removes context. So let's imagine a common scenario. You scroll through your partner's social media and you find old photos of them with their ex. They're laughing together, traveling, or looking incredibly happy. You see captions that say things like, best weekend ever, or love this person so much. Instantly, your mind starts creating a narrative. You can start thinking, were they happier than they are now with me? Do they still miss that person? Was that relationship better than ours? But what you're seeing is a snapshot from a moment in time. It doesn't show the arguments. It doesn't show the incompatibilities. It doesn't show the reasons the relationship ended. You're seeing the highlight of a reel in a chapter that's already closed. Because let's be honest, if it was still going and they were as happy as pigs in shit like they look on the photos, then the relationship wouldn't have bloody well ended. Emotionally, though, that can still affect you because suddenly you start comparing yourself to someone who isn't even part of your partner's life anymore. And comparison is one of the fastest ways to damage a sense of security in a new relationship. So, what's the difference between trust and transparency? And there is an important distinction between them. Transparency in a relationship means being honest, being open and willing to share your experiences. Trust, however, is something deeper. It isn't built from information. Trust is built from experience. It grows through conversations, reliability, emotional safety, and consistency over time. When someone feels the need to verify everything through digital investigation, it actually weakens the foundation of trust because the relationship begins with monitoring instead of openness. And trust rarely grows well in an environment of quiet surveillance. Now, what are the ethical boundaries in the digital world? Holy shit, is there even ethical boundaries? This raises a very, very interesting question. Where do we draw the line between curiosity and invasion of privacy. Most people would agree that reading someone's private diary without permission absolutely crosses a boundary. But looking through someone's phone secretly would also feel like a breach of trust. And when information is technically public online, people sometimes feel that all boundaries disappear. But healthy relationships, they still require respect for personal history and space. Just because someone's past exists online doesn't necessarily mean it was intended to be investigated by a future partner acting as a detective. Part of emotional maturity is recognizing that everyone had a life before you entered it. Now, there's another psychological trap involved in online investigation, and we call it the illusion of safety. Information can feel like protection. People often believe that the more they know, the safer they'll feel. But in reality, the search for certainty often creates more anxiety. Instead of feeling reassured, people start overanalyzing everything that they've seen. A photo becomes a mystery. A comment becomes a clue. An old interaction becomes something to question. And the brain starts building stories to fill in the gaps. The brain doesn't like gaps, and it does this great thing by filling it in with bullshit. And before long, all of a sudden, the person is feeling far more insecure than they did before they started their detective work. Because uncertainty in relationships isn't something that you can entirely eliminate with information. It's something you learn to tolerate through trust. So, when does curiosity become a bloody major red flag? Well, occasional curiosity is normal, but when curiosity turns into repeated checking, searching, or obsessive monitoring of a person, it absolutely signals something deeper. If someone finds themselves scrolling through years of someone's online history, analysing followers, or repeatedly checking old interactions, it indicates an underlying trust or attachment concern, and that is important information. Not about the person that you're searching, but about the emotional pattern within the person doing the searching. Healthy relationships require emotional security, not constant verification. Now, of course, wanting to understand your partner's past isn't wrong. In fact, those conversations can totally deepen intimacy between two people. Talking about previous relationships can reveal important things: what someone learned, how they've grown, and what they value. The difference is in how those insights are gained. Instead of searching for answers online, create space for honest dialogue. You can ask something like, what did you learn from your past relationships? What helped you grow from those experiences? Or is there anything from your past that shaped who you are today? These are the kind of conversations that create understanding and empathy. They invite vulnerability instead of suspicion. And that's where real trust begins to grow. Now, let's be honest for a minute. I'm pretty sure most people listening to this have probably already done a bit of online detective work about someone they were dating, or that you're currently dating, or that you're about to date. And if that's you, well, you're not alone. What matters more than the behaviour itself is the awareness that follows it. Rather than feeling ashamed or defensive, it can be helpful to ask yourself why you felt the need to look. Were you trying to protect yourself? Were you feeling insecure? Were you trying to fill in gaps where communication hadn't happened yet? Understanding your own motivation can actually open the door to a healthier conversation about trust and boundaries moving forward. Now, there's a little disclaimer in that. If you're going to ask yourself, was I trying to protect myself? Was I feeling insecure? Was I filling in the gaps? And you answer yes to all those questions, well, here's a little kicker for you. Just because the answer is yes, don't start turning those reasons into excuses. You are only bullshitting yourself. Those answers are there for you to look at and answer honestly in order to go, what do I need to work on in myself so that I can shift that? Not use it as an excuse to continue a behavior that will absolutely compromise trust in the long run. Curiosity is human, but trust is something we build through experience, honesty, and vulnerability. Scrolling through your partner's past will give you information, but it won't necessarily give you clarity. And it rarely creates emotional safety, not the type of emotional safety that people are actually hoping to find by starting the doom scroll straight away. Before opening that search bar, it can be helpful to pause and ask yourself one simple question. Am I seeking safety or am I avoiding vulnerability? Because strong relationships do not grow through investigation. They grow through conversation. So, what am I hoping to feel by knowing my partner's past? Safer, more in control, more secure? Ask yourself these. Thank you for listening in today. I always appreciate you spending time with me. If today's episode got you thinking, come and connect with me. You can DM me, come into the socials. I genuinely love hearing your perspectives. And if you know someone who might benefit from this conversation, absolutely feel free to share this episode with them. Until next time, be kind to yourself and remember that your well-being matters. One of my big goals for this year is to get this podcast into the ears of more people who genuinely need it. So if this episode has made you think, feel or see things a little differently, I need to ask you a favour. Follow it, rate it, leave a comment or share it with someone who might need it too. The more you pay it forward, the more I get to keep doing what I do and hopefully help a few more people along the way. And don't stop there. Be sure to tag me at @VVincieTherapist so that I can see and connect with you. I love hearing your thoughts and takeaways. So my inbox is always open. DM me anytime. Thanks again for listening. I'll catch you next time.